When I first started learning about body language, I didn't realize how much it would change the way I understood people and myself. I was that guy who would take everything at face value. If someone said something, I believed it, no questions asked. It wasn't until I learned the hard way that what people say doesn't always match how they feel. I remember one particular moment that opened my eyes. I was giving a motivational speech at a corporate event, and I thought I was doing great. The crowd was polite, some even nodding in agreement. But afterward, as I mingled with the audience, I could sense something wasn't quite right. Even though they said all the right things, their body language was telling me a different story. They were polite, yes, but not engaged. Their feet pointed away from me, their eyes darted around the room, and their smiles were tight. It hit me then. Words can lie, but the body rarely does. In Stoic philosophy, there's a lesson that aligns perfectly with this. Focus on what you can control. You can't control what people say or do, but you can control how you interpret it. The Stoics believed in understanding the true nature of things, and reading body language is about getting to the truth beneath the surface. I began to see that if I wanted to connect deeply with people, whether in a speech, in personal relationships, or even in negotiations, I needed to learn how to read the unspoken signals. And once I started paying attention, everything changed. Let's talk about what Stoicism has to do with body language. Stoics emphasize the importance of reason over emotion, of focusing on actions rather than words. Well, body language is an action. It's what people do rather than what they say. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoics, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." I believe that includes listening to what people's bodies are telling us. One time I was in a meeting negotiating a deal. The other party seemed agreeable, nodding their heads, saying all the right things. But then I noticed something. One of them was nervously fidgeting with his pen, his shoulders were tense, and he kept glancing at his watch. The others had their arms crossed tightly in front of them. At that moment, I knew they weren't really on board. I chose not to push too hard, keeping my offer open but flexible. As expected, they called me later, wanting to renegotiate, because they weren't fully convinced. If I had only listened to their words, I might have assumed everything was fine and been blindsided later. Instead, I read the situation for what it truly was, and it saved me time and effort. People may say they agree, but if their body tells you otherwise, trust the body. Stoicism teaches us not to get attached to appearances, but to seek truth in actions. Have you ever had someone talk to you but couldn't maintain eye contact? It's unsettling, isn't it? Eye contact is one of the most powerful forms of body language, and it can reveal a lot about what someone is truly feeling. I learned this during one of my earlier speaking gigs. I was speaking to a room of young professionals, and I noticed one guy sitting in the back, avoiding eye contact the whole time. I kept trying to engage him, but he seemed distracted. Afterward, he approached me, saying he loved the talk. But here's the thing. His body language didn't match his words. In the days that followed, I kept thinking about it. Why was his body resisting connection? I started paying more attention to eye contact in my future speeches. When people were truly engaged, their eyes locked with mine. When they weren't, their eyes wandered or avoided mine altogether. Stoicism teaches us to observe the world with clarity, free from distractions. In the same way, observing someone's eye contact gives you clear insight into their level of interest and sincerity. Eye contact is a window into someone's engagement. If someone can't look you in the eye, something might be off, regardless of what they say. Stay calm, like a Stoic, and observe without judgment. Posture says a lot about confidence, readiness, and how someone feels in the moment. Think about it. When you're feeling unsure or scared, what does your body do? You might slouch, make yourself smaller, or cross your arms. But when you feel confident, you stand tall, shoulders back, and your chest is open. Stoicism talks a lot about standing firm in your convictions, no matter what life throws at you. Your posture can reflect that internal strength. There was a time I entered a room for an important meeting, feeling a bit nervous. I noticed I was hunching over, shoulders drawn in. Immediately, I remembered the Stoic lesson, act how you want to feel. I straightened my posture, lifted my chin, and walked in with confidence, even though internally I felt uncertain. Surprisingly, that small shift changed the entire energy in the room. People responded differently to me, and I ended up leading the discussion with ease. I've seen this happen with others too. If someone's sitting with their shoulders slumped and their head down, they're probably feeling overwhelmed or defeated. On the other hand, someone who sits up straight with an open posture is likely feeling more in control. Posture is one of the easiest ways to read body language because it's so closely tied to emotion. Pay attention to posture. Stoics believe that your external behavior should match your inner beliefs. If someone's posture shows they're uncomfortable or unsure, that's probably the truth, even if they're telling you something different. Here's something I've learned through experience. People tend to mirror each other's body language when they feel connected. It's like an unspoken way of saying, "I'm on the same page as you." I remember during one of my talks, I noticed a woman in the audience who was nodding along, her posture mirroring mine. As I moved, she moved. I could tell she was fully with me. After the event, she came up to me and shared how much the speech had resonated with her. It wasn't a surprise to me because I had already sensed the connection through her body language. Stoicism encourages us to find harmony with others and the world around us. When you're in sync with someone, body language reflects that. If you find yourself mirroring someone's gestures or posture, or if they're doing it with you, it's a strong sign of rapport. Mirroring is a powerful indicator of connection. When people are aligned, their body language will naturally match. It's a sign of trust and mutual understanding. Not all body language is positive, of course. Sometimes you'll encounter negative signals, closed arms, avoidance, or even subtle signs of hostility. When this happens, it's easy to get defensive or feel rejected. But here's where Stoicism really helps. You can't control other people's reactions, only your own. I've faced this countless times, especially in difficult conversations. Once, I was in a tough negotiation where the other party was clearly resistant. Their arms were crossed, their faces stern, and I could feel the tension in the air. It would have been easy to get frustrated or push harder. But instead, I took a step back, mentally and physically. I focused on staying calm, maintaining open body language, and giving them space. Eventually, their body language softened. They started to uncross their arms, and the conversation flowed more naturally. Stoicism teaches us not to react emotionally to negative situations. If you see negative body language, don't take it personally. Stay grounded in your own behavior and allow others to come around when they're ready. Negative body language is not an attack on you. Stay calm, maintain your own composure, and don't let it throw you off balance. Just like the Stoics, control your reaction, not theirs. Learning to read body language has been a game changer in my life, both personally and professionally. It's like having a secret code that reveals what's really going on beneath the surface. Stoicism has guided me in this process by reminding me to focus on the truth behind actions, not just words, and to maintain my own composure regardless of what others do. The Stoic philosophers taught that we should not be swayed by appearances or emotions. When you learn to read body language, you're practicing that same Stoic principle. You're seeing things as they really are, not just as they appear on the surface. So the next time you're in a conversation, a meeting, or even just watching someone from across the room, pay attention to what their body is saying. Look for the truth behind their words. And remember, just as in life, it's not about controlling others, it's about understanding them. In every interaction, let your eyes be open to both the spoken and the unspoken. Trust the body language. Trust your ability to read between the lines. And most importantly, trust yourself to remain calm, collected, and true to your principles, just like the Stoics taught us.